Confederacy and Dunks. Toronto Raptors. Scotty B. We the North, baby.
What's up? What's good, everybody? This is Confederacy of Dunks on the Raptors Republic with me, Freddie Rivas, and Andy Hull. And our special guest this week is an incredible writer, podcaster, I would say a decent encyclopedia for all things Canada ball. Our special guest is Oren Weisfeld. What's up, dude?
Thanks for the introduction. Hope that I'm a decent human as well. That's what I'm trying to grade myself on these days. But
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
tell me by the end of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. So just note,
Okay.
Andy, like we're going to be talking basketball, but we are trying to rank Oren as a human.
Yeah, we'll be judging his
morally
performance as a
speaking.
human as well, right? All time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Right.
all time.
So that
Yeah,
next
against
time I
like,
come on the
against
podcast,
everyone all time. That's the thing.
right.
Yeah, we're
Next
going to
time
put
I come
him.
on the podcast, that way my introduction can be like genuinely great human being.
Yeah,
You know, if you guys come to that conclusion.
yeah, for sure.
see.
Like this guy's in the 80th percentile of people that have ever lived.
Yeah.
Type stuff.
That's
yeah.
a lot of work to do. Like it's a lot of proving to be done here, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what
Gandhi,
happens.
You got to beat out Gandhi. There's a lot of people.
That's a lot of good.
Oh yeah,
people
yeah,
to beat
yeah.
out.
Gandhi's like, I think
Gandhi's at
he's
the
got.
top.
Yeah, he's not in the 80th. He's like
No,
top
99.
level, I'd say. Yeah,
He's
like
top
for
level
sure.
for sure. He's right up there.
Show.
he's the 1%, like in a good way. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1% of a different list. Don't worry.
Yeah,
like
right.
it's
Totally
a
different list.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Like the Occupy people would be down with that.
Confederacy of Dunks
I got
post
that. I
calls
got
Gandhi 1%. Like
Okay, let's start with some Raptor stuff. We're 13 games into the season. You know, let me just do the usual caveat of so many statistics are going to settle, so many, things and themes are going to settle as well. But for the fun sake of it, I asked you guys to pick a single individual statistic that jumps out to you as a surprise. For me, this was kind of hard because there's a bunch of stats that I found pretty surprising. But let me go to you first, Oren. What is a player stat that is surprising you right now?
So I got this one from Michael Grange's most recent piece on Sportsnet, and I thought it was good because it's really indicative of, we saw it in the last game, especially against Detroit, where Scotty's energy was just really, just kind of bled towards the whole team. He started a 4 p.m. Sunday start, he's screaming in people's faces, literally.
Oh my God,
like you
yeah.
heard it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
And that's just been such a big change from last season, when I think a big criticism for him was consistent energy, like a full 48 minutes of play. So this stat stood out, and it's so in the games where Scotty is shooting worse than 50% from the floor, which basically happened half the games, 7
Mhm.
games so far this season. So, games he's not having good offensive games, how is he still getting involved? He's averaging 2.5 steals and 2 blocks in those games, 4.5 stocks in those games. So I think it just goes to show the energy he's playing with consistently, the defense, the level he's taken as a defensive creator on this season, and just really like that stat from Scotty.
Yeah, that's a fantastic one. And I think, so much has been made of obviously the criticism of Scotty, his like fitness level, which is always sort of a weird thing for, I feel like the average fan to try to wrap their head around. So it just kind of comes across as slander. But he did say it himself that he had a better year training, and it makes sense. Like it's his third year coming in. He probably learned a lot. Coming off of a rookie of the year campaign, I can only imagine what happens in your life, from like
Right.
shooting commercials to partying to also
Yeah.
trying to train to, whatever, like so much stuff's going on. And, I think that's a really, really good indicative stat. Like we're hearing a bunch about the stocks, right? Because I think
Love some stocks.
love some stocks, I got,
I do love it as a stat.
yeah, if you got stocks in Scotty, you are very much appreciating the stocks, and that is a good indicator to me of like a person who, um, like finds a way to win. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Andy, you got a special stock stat, or it
Yeah,
could be
it's more like a stock stat. It's not like a real analytics beast type thing. It's just the fact that and you actually gave me the idea for this, Freddie, although I was kind of thinking in this realm in the first place. But the fact that Malachi Flynn is basically playing 17 minutes per game
Mhm.
is something that I think we all kind of knew. Like, okay, I guess I should frame this in a way where it's like I'm impressed with those 17 minutes, I guess is what I should say, you know? And I did not think that was where I was going to be watching watching this team, but like we've kind of talked about it a lot, and I don't want to, and before all of the like before all of the Raptors Republic heads get on here and go like, here these guys go talking about Malachi Flynn being good again. These guys are washed. Get out of here. I don't think Malachi Flynn is good. I'm just saying it's kind of impressive with the leap that this guy's taken, where we all thought he was like, you know, a piece of gum on the ground. And now he's like, hey, too bad he's our backup point guard, but you know, it could be worse, is what I think, what, you know, is how I'm feeling about it. And I think a lot of us are feeling that way. So it's nice. I like it in sports when there's a story like this where it's like, this is a guy we've had on our team who is like kind of the joke. We've all had these players on Raptors teams in the past as well. You know, whether it's like Jorge Garbajosa, and you know these, you know, we talked about him with Matt, like Rafa Arujo, like these guys who are like, we love to hate them, even though we still secretly kind of love them. I feel like Malachi is that guy on this team and has been on this team for a bit now, and it's kind of nice to see him come up and be like, okay, you're putting in some minutes that are like, you know, I don't cringe every time you touch the ball. Guy's averaging like a steal per game, you know, and like that alone is pretty good. I'm pretty into it, you know. His production is like, you know, decent, and I for one choose to be pretty stoked about that. You
yeah.
know, reasonably
Yeah.
stoked.
Yeah, I would say
I think
you're so go ahead, Oren.
I think 17 minutes a game is definitely a surprising stat. Like coming into the season, no one would have predicted that. It goes to show, I think, what just like rhythm and confidence can do for a player. Like I don't think Malachi took this massive leap in between last season and this season in terms of his skills. I just think that now knows he's playing every day. He knows the coach doesn't despise him. He knows that like
Yes,
he's
exactly.
gonna get to play through mistakes and his teammates trust him, and this is who he's always been as a player. Like you said, it's still not above NBA average play from him, but it's it's a lot better than we've seen in the last couple of years. And yeah, I do just really think this just goes to show how much like consistency and rhythm and confidence matter, those kind of things.
Yeah, and like, you know, as far as the actual the number of minutes go, yeah, it's higher than I think we expected. But then, I guess if you look at a team and you're like, they don't have a, you know, like who's their point guard, like what's happening with this team and everything. It's like it's not so far outside of the realm of possibilities that this guy was going to get more minutes. Although it kind of was to us last year, which is why it's like fun and impressive. And hey, man, you know, you can find a glimmer of light down there in the eighth man of the year. Can that be an award? Can we get the eighth man of the year award going? Because Malachi's, he's, you know, he's
I
vying for
don't
that
know
one.
if he's in the running, but
Come
I would say
Eighth
that
man.
I would say I hope that after this pod's done, you aggregate yourself because you're very obviously a Flynn stan.
I'm no,
Um,
don't even start. No,
and
please don't. No, although I do deserve that now.
no, you hang out with Eric Flynn every day, his dad.
Oh, any Flynns, I'm down. Laura Flynn Boyle, I'm big. I am a.
Yeah.
I guess I am a Flynn head in that regard. Yes.
Cool. I'm happy you brought Laura Flynn Boyle.
I've
into the
always
mix.
been a Laura Flynn Boyle guy. You kidding me? Since day one.
But no, really though, I think like to you and Oren's point, you know, there is a, and it's a good point, Oren, that like it's not necessarily a major personal improvement. Like, you know, I went to the game the other day, and the guy, my season seat buddy, was like, "Is Flynn like? Is he like thicker? Like he looks buffer?" And it's like he did say he put on like 8 pounds of muscle or
For
whatever.
sure.
But
He
you know,
looks
whatever.
stronger.
When players
Yeah.
say that, you're like, okay, sure. but he I think there is like players play differently when they know they're going to play every night, and that's a major difference. Like people can make fun of how like like the nice Darko or whatever, but I think that's going to be something that pays off more and more and more throughout the year. Just like people feeling good coming to work and knowing that they can work through some issues, but there is a limit to it, obviously, right? If you're a guy like Jalen McDaniels, you probably don't get to play if you can't hit some shots.
Yeah.
But so my stat, I think I think because you said Scotty, I just want to mention the 3-point percentage because it's so good. But the stat I'm going to go with that I feel like illustrates uh, something I didn't really expect is Dennis Schroeder basically is 7.5 assists per game. And it's not that is like a wild amount of assists or, he's like whatever, like just like a dime factory. But I do think that I thought he would be just brought in as a scoring point guard. And I didn't really have big expectations of him having such a connection with Pirtle or, basically I just did not expect. I thought I would put him in like the 5 to 6 assist territory. I thought there was a chance he didn't start. I think I've kind of been wrong about Schroeder's impact in general, like in a really good way. He's basically just, he's done better than I thought he would. And I wasn't that low on him. Like I liked what he did in FIBA and for the Lakers, but I still thought there was, I didn't think it could be as good as it's been.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
He's been really good, and he's one of those guys that I think people get put in these boxes when they're around 30 years old, like he is. Like, all right, this is the type of player he is. He's not going to evolve. And then you saw what he did at the World Cup with Germany. Just took like a massive leap on that stage, and I think like this is a leap for Dennis Schroeder. Like he got pegged as a backup point guard, like topping out at that level of player. He chose Toronto, like as much as the money and Darko was an influence, he also chose Toronto because he knew this was an opportunity to play and start and play big minutes for a team that just lost its all-star point guard. So
Mm-hmm.
he kind of bet on himself in that way, and it's paid off because he's run with like the challenge of being the starting point guard. That was not a given, like you said. I thought Gary might start coming into the season too, but Dennis has just been so good that he's kind of won this role, and seven assists is nice. 2 turnovers is really nice to have that kind of ratio too. So yeah, I've been really impressed with his season. I think it's a good guy to highlight.
Sweet. Okay, here's question number 2 for you guys. I'll start with you again, Oren. By season's end, who do you think is our best bench player?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I have been thinking about this one because it could go any number of ways. Like, one person I just thought about was Dennis Schroeder because I still feel like there's a real chance one of the shooters gets into the starting lineup. Like Gary would be the most obvious one, and then Schroeder comes off the bench, and then he would be easily the best bench player. So, I think that's a chance. I think that's becoming less and less likely as Schroeder just plays it really well with the starters, and
Right.
and Gary hasn't blown anyone away either to deserve that starting spot. So I think that's less likely. I also thought of Precious Achua, who maybe one of you will say, I think by next season, Precious will be the guy for me, who's the best guy coming off the bench. But I still think he needs a little bit more time to get there. And really, I just hope that he doesn't get any more injuries, because when he finds consistent like playing time and he's in a rhythm, he's really good. But I have a boring answer, and it's Gary Trent Jr. I think he's the best. He's the best guy off the bench now. He's going to be the best guy off the bench by the end of the season. Just like the shooting and the shot creation he brings is so valuable to a team that lacks it. And he hasn't had a great start to the season. I think he's going to find his form a little bit more and round out as that player.
Yeah, really well said. And I think what's fun about this question too, to toot my own horn, is to think about that the idea that the starting lineup might still change. So that's sort of cooked into my answer as well. But yeah, Andy, who's your guy?
I kind of feel the same way Aaron does. I think the boring answer is probably the most correct answer here. However, for the purposes of having fun, let's say Gary kind of doesn't really, continue the way we want him to and everything. And maybe not even. Maybe just the guy I'm going to say has a bit of a leap. But Oren already said him. I think Precious is the guy who has the potential to be that, just because we've seen Darko use him a lot in in crunch time, especially in like coming in instead of Jakob when we need that his style of play kind of thing. And like I just think that those opportunities, we're seeing them pop up for Precious. And like the fact that if he can string a couple, like you're saying, like string a couple good like games together and kind of get that confidence behind him and stuff. And I think we could see a bit of a transformation into Precious being the best guy off the bench, when we go to him.
Yeah, I think there's a world in which that 3-point outburst we saw from Precious, you know, and the dip last year with the injuries. There's sort of some like it rounds out to like not being that good or not being that bad. And if he's healthy, that I think we've all seen enough special defense from him. And I think we can talk about the mismanagement of the game there in Boston with Scotty. But I think something that complicated that was Precious was on the floor. He was playing really well.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of pushed Darko to making what I think most people would agree is the wrong decision. You do what you need to get Scotty in the game, right? He's a special player. He's made the leap. He, I think, is an impact player, and you figure it out. Pirtle or Precious is moved to the bench. But yeah, so I got a couple like variations here. I think it is Gary or Precious. I think in the same vein that Oren was saying, Dennis, this is a bit of a leap.
I
But
know what you're gonna say. I know
I
what you're gonna say. Pirtle.
oh, Pirtle. I'm going to say Pirtle because I
I was
think
gonna bring it up if someone wanted to be really bold and say Pirtle.
yeah, like the deal here is I think that we see this with star players who are like Scotty. And I'm sort of making an Anthony Davis comparison here, where it's sort of like you have to preserve them and they can't play center all of the time. But when they do play center, it changes the sort of complexion of the court. And I think that we've seen some Scotty kind of playing center lineups that have been really special. And I think that's a way to bring in another shooter. And I guess it's weird to say this, but Pascal shooting so poorly right now from three is kind of like a non-shooter. I think people do still respect him, but it's different with Pirtle. People don't respect him. He doesn't take shots from three. There's a difference between being bad at shooting threes and just not attempting them ever. So yeah, Pirtle's my funky answer. And then my hope for health answer is Porter. I think that Porter is really an awesome. He adds a lot of what this team needs, and I think that if he can be healthy and hit the three and sort of be like a veteran for this team, I think there's a world in which he really blends well with the kind of different combinations we throw out there.
Yeah. I want to touch on the Pirtle piece because I just don't see it because I mean, as much as the spacing makes sense, like if Precious keeps hitting these threes, you bring him in, you have a 5-man who can space the floor. Like it theoretically sounds really good, but I
Yeah.
think there's a couple things working against it. Like one, they just paid Pirtle $20 million
Yes.
a year. You
Yes.
tend to start those guys. You tend to invest in them. And B, like, let's be honest, Pirtle is a much better center than Precious Achua right now.
Mhm.
I think he's vastly underrated by Raptors fans, what he does as a rim protector and a rebounder, and it's not a sexy game that he has, but there's a reason the starters are winning their minutes pretty well. and I think he has a really big impact on it. The spacing's not great, but like you're not changing the geometry of the court by putting Precious out there instead of Pirtle. This isn't Steph Curry we're talking about. We're talking about like guys don't guard Precious.
Mhm.
They dare him to shoot. So I don't think it would change anything too drastic. And I just think Pirtle is so much better right now that I think it's a conversation we're going to be having more and more next season, maybe, and even in terms of what's Pirtle's future here if Precious keeps ascending. But I think it's premature.
I think that's totally fair. Although I will say
we're having fun, but I'm just I just
Yeah,
wanted to say my piece.
I'm honestly
You're really
pissed.
ruining our fun here, Oren. I'll tell you what. How dare you
well-
bring your analytics-based reality into this?
Well, I was just gonna say in my vision, it's Gary. It's Dennis, Gary, OG, Pascal, Scotty is sort of the lineup that pushes Pirtle out. But yeah, in terms of spacing, but I still think there's all your points about Pirtle being underrated is very, it's very well taken. I think that people are obsessed with the fact that we traded a pick for him, even though we don't know what that pick is going to convey yet. But I think the assumption is that it's like, oh, we traded the 7th overall pick for him. And it's like, yeah, maybe we did. But maybe that's not where it falls. And I also feel like, you see a game like that Pistons game, and it might be a scenario where Pirtle at the highest, most competitive like playoff scenario, there's some spacing stuff, but I think he cleans up a lot of garbage, and there'll be less slippage when you play teams that can't punish you in that same way. There's not a lot of like Porzingis's out there, or sort of like Embiid's, or just people that can. Well, Embiid's different, but I think you guys know what I mean. There's not a lot of like punishing every potential mistake you make type teams. There's a lot of other flawed teams, and I think that I felt that from the beginning of the season. I feel like Pirtle really raises the floor of this team.
Yeah.
Totally.
So so we're still friends, is what I'm saying. Like
we're still friends.
Hey, can we start calling Jakob Pirtle Pert Plus?
What is that?
Pert Plus? Can we start calling them Pert Plus?
I think we could try, but
why don't we get it started right here?
Let me.
You don't like the Austrian hammer?
I love the Austrian
hammer. Is that a little
hammer.
too sexual?
I just like multiple.
That is pretty sexual.
Very sexual. I found it funny how there was like, did you guys see this whole controversy with Grady Dick getting introduced as
big
people
energy.
heard it as big. Yeah, they heard it as big dick energy. And then the next game, I'm sitting there and they go like, starting at center, the Austrian hammer. I'm like, well, if we're gonna get mad at one of them,
yeah. We also there's another guy on a team we call Spicy P. So I'm just gonna say,
Spicy P. I never thought of it that way.
That's not nice
at all.
to hear.
I didn't either.
That's hilarious. Okay, but if you go to Basketball Reference, the only nickname listed for Jakob Pirtle is Jake Puddle.
It's such a bad nickname.
It's terrible. It's
you
just
guys
like,
know about.
I'm a depressed private investigator in Iowa. My name's Jake Puddle.
He has an even worse nickname, which is Big Ugly, which Fred called him in an open gym episode.
That's not
which is
okay.
Just really rude.
That's rough stuff.
Yeah, you can't call someone Big Ugly. And also,
Plus, let's get it going.
Okay, wait. Like just before we move on, Pert Plus, is that like a shopper's product?
Minus joke?
Yeah.
Is it what?
What's the origins here? We need to know.
Pert Plus?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what? You don't know what Pert Plus is? Are you joking?
No, I don't.
Pert Plus is shampoo, man. It's 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. Classic.
Oh.
All the women watching the show just like canceled the screen. They're like,
is it? Wait, but is it only in Canada? Is that why maybe it's not as widely known as I thought?
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna move on to the next
it's American.
question.
It's American. Get out of here. Everyone knows Pert Plus. You guys are mad.
Okay. Well, I'm so sorry to any of our listeners that didn't know Pert Plus and feel deeply hurt. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do my first NBA question here, and again, we're gonna keep starting with you. This is a fun one for me because I feel like some violent thing will take place, and we all saw the chokehold that Draymond put on Rudy. So I want to imagine that this will happen again somewhere with someone else this year in the league. So who is the choker and who is the chokey? Like, what's the altercation? Set it up for me, Oren.
Okay, so it's April. We're in the play-in tournament.
Oh, okay. I was
Right.
like April,
I
like
love it.
It's April. We're in the play-in tournament. We got at the 10th and 9th teams are the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Lakers.
oh yeah, huge stakes.
You know, things are getting heated. Huge stakes. Loser leaves. Losers out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Houston's up. Houston looks like Houston's going to run away with it. You know, we're getting into garbage time here. They're up 10. They're up 15. Dylan Brooks is hitting every three. Fred VanVleet is doing Fred VanVleet things. And LeBron James just gets so frustrated that he's losing to Dylan Brooks. He's just so embarrassed. Dylan locked him up, hitting threes all over the place that, you know, he gets Dylan takes one too many of these hard fouls on him, and LeBron just goes ballistic and puts Dylan in the chokehold, gets him to tap out, and things go crazy.
Oh, it's like a full choke hold, like a rear naked choke.
Yeah.
Like
I
he MMA's him out of the game.
This is exactly what I was going for.
Because LeBron is so smart. If he's gonna do it, he's not worried about a suspension. He's out already. You know, the Lakers are out. There's no stakes for this. He's just finally getting his redemption on Dylan, and I think that's when it would happen.
Yeah, this is great. I also love that the header for this, Andy, is "Don't choke."
Don't choke.
Which is
People
which
say
is
that,
great.
right? That's a saying.
No, yeah, but also I think it's a good advice to fans. It's like we're having fun, but don't choke anybody.
Well, it is. There's a question mark there, so maybe do choke. I don't know.
Okay, Perk Plus, let's go.
Okay, let's go. Okay. What about this? Okay. I love Orange scenario, build scenario. That's really, I like that world building that you just did there. So I'm gonna try and do that a bit myself. So it's same thing. You know, we're nearing the end of the season. The writing's on the wall for the Los Angeles Clippers. Unfortunately, they weren't able to turn it around despite all the talent on their squad. And an extremely frustrated Russell Westbrook goes, "We had this. Finally, I had it figured out." And he's just vibrating on the court after the last game of the season. And he turns to James Harden and he goes, You did this to me. And he comes after him and he just Homer Simpson on Bart, like chokes him out. He can't think. He doesn't know what else to do. It's the pure frustration of almost having it right in his grasp early in the season, and it just got taken away. And I know they had their first win and everything, but with James on the team, but like still, how like I feel like he's got to be the most frustrated person in the league leading up to this recent win that the Clippers had. But like, you know, it's like you add this, you've thrown everything off kilter. Like we had it figured out for a bit. Finally, you know, we were going to be a super team. My friend who lives in LA, Norm Souza, he was here recently talking hoops. We should get Norm on the show, by the way. He was great as well. But we were talking Clippers, and yeah, that's the vibe around Clipper Town. Let me tell you, there's some frustration building on that team for sure.
I thought you were going to say Kawhi Zubats. because I think it's like you wouldn't expect Kawhi to choke, but I think he's going to choke someone before he hits somebody.
Kawhi will choke someone at the hotel. Like he won't do it in front of everyone. You'll just go to practice the next day and he won't be there. Like Kawhi.
Yeah, there'll be one fewer players.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, here's mine. It also involves LeBron. So I feel like there's some kind of LeBron feeling there. But I think that in my scenario, it's LeBron getting choked. So that's right.
Wow,
right.
who has the cojones to choke LeBron?
Right. That's the right question, Oren. Who has the cojones? Who's a loose cannon? Who has a personal vendetta against LeBron? One of my favorite nicknames in the NBA. We just played him, Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart. So a year and a half ago, he got that fierce elbow from LeBron, and it was blood all over his face, and like he couldn't be corralled. It was a pretty intense scene. That tells me, you know, he remembers and hates LeBron, doesn't respect him. And then my stakes are going to be much lower since it's the Pistons. Let me say this is like the first round of the in-season tournament. But it matters to the
Very low
Pistons.
stakes.
It
Yeah,
matters to the Pistons.
they're like 5-70, and he's just fuming at the
Yeah,
stadium.
exactly. And then my backup answer is double choke Chet and Wemby choking each other from so far away. So it's like
across the stadium.
Yeah, it's an extended choke. Like
It's
basically,
like the Spider-Man meme, but it's
it's like hard to frame them. You know what I mean? Like you need a wide shot.
It turns into a choke slam.
Yeah.
At one point.
That'd be great.
I feel that Undertaker Kane style. The double choke slam.
Okay, one more question here before we move on to our game. This is a fun one for like a slanderous purpose. Oren, who do you think is we'll stay away from franchise. We'll just focus on team. But yeah, who's the most boring team?
Yeah, we don't want to step on any toes here. Come on.
Yeah, right? No, but I mean, like, it doesn't have to be like they've been bad for many years.
Right.
Sort of like,
I see.
Yes.
like you see the team is playing, and then you're like, I've watched a bit too much basketball recently. I'm gonna like do something more, like, you know what I mean? Like they're just no draw. Who's your boring team?
Yeah, last year for me it was definitely Houston. I couldn't watch that team. It was terrible. This year Washington could be the answer, but they're like too funny to be boring.
Yeah,
You know
Jordan
what I
Poole
mean?
is
Like,
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
you watch a game and you're just bound to see some absolutely like ridiculous stuff. And so from that sense, I'm going to leave Washington out. So for me, it came down to the Pistons and the Bulls, the two saddest teams in the league, I think.
Yeah.
Both just, I'm not tuning in to watch games. I'll probably say the Pistons. At least the Bulls have like Levine and DeRozan, who are like individually very fun players to watch, even if it doesn't work well as a team. So there's some star power there. Like the Pistons are god awful, and I don't know who I'm supposed to be excited about watching that team. Like Cade is the most exciting guy, but he's not even like a fun player. Like he's a good player.
Yeah, he's
but I wouldn't say his game is like, yeah, exactly. His game's not flashy or anything like that. And even like, yeah, just down the line, there's a lot of boring guys on this team. Alec Burks is like the most boring player in the league for some reason. And then it's just a lot of centers. And then they're young prospects like Ivy and the French kid. Ozar Thompson's pretty fun. He's probably the funnest player.
He's very exciting.
Other than that, it's pretty bleak. So I'll say the Pistons.
I was counting like just for fun watching that game. So I think the other side of OKC has so much going on in terms of like draft picks, and they're really exciting. Is a reminder that the Detroit Pistons exist, and they have 7 players on their team that were drafted top 10.
Wow.
Not by them, but that
does hurt it a bit.
Yeah, it does. But they got Knox, Wiseman, Bagley. Like it's a long list of like really pretty young, talented prospects that have varying levels of sort of success. But yeah, Pistons, great team. Andy, who's your boring team?
Okay. First of all, saying the Bulls is immediate disrespect to Don Flamenco, aka Alex Caruso from Punch Out.
Don Flamenco?
Yeah, he looks like Don Flamenco. Don't you think so?
I gotta Google Don Flamenco.
Do you remember Don Flamenco?
Is he a Pert Plus guy? Like,
because remember when you punch him enough, he like his hair, like his toupee falls off and he's bald.
Okay. Oh yes, I know that guy. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of bad teams. But bad isn't always necessarily boring to me. Like you mentioned, or like the Wizards are actually surprisingly fun to watch. This might be a hot take, but is it for me? It's like the Boston Celtics. Like, who cares?
Wow,
they're just good.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, they're good. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not about whether or not these players are good. Don't get me wrong. Jason Tatum, very excellent player. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are great. Jaylen Brown. But, like, I just don't. Boston is so, like, boring to me as a as everything. I first of all, I do hate Boston very much. But like every time I'm just like, yeah, we get it. You guys are pretty good all the time somehow, and you've got just well-rounded players, and there's nothing that I enjoy about watching Boston, and maybe that's just personal preference, not even preference, it's personal bias against
Yeah.
the city of Boston. But I legitimately am bored watching a team that's like that. They kind of remind me of when, and not as like the way they play or anything, but this feeling I get. They kind of remind me of like, again, another hot take here is when like the Mavericks were really good, and you'd watch like, and I love Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki was an exciting player, but like for some reason I always got that feeling about the Dallas Mavericks back then when they were winning, when they won their championship. I was like, I don't care.
I see what you mean as far as like very there's a cat here.
Kitty.
As very like clinical players, like there's almost like a ease in which Tatum kind of like assassinates people, and it's like it's almost can like lull you to sleep. But I think I'll counter you just because I feel like when teams are that good, like I watched the highlights of the Charlotte Boston game, and like random teams just pull out their best possible performances against those teams. Like even the Nuggets barely beat who is it? They barely beat
Yeah,
they barely beat the
like
Pistons.
Yes.
And it's like I was watching some of those highlights, and I'm like, the Pistons did not play that good against us, And I think
Yeah.
when you're just a really amazing team that destroys people, I feel like you get good games come from that. But I'm with you as far as like it doesn't have to be a bad team. So I've my team that is like not bad, but I'm just not super interested in their players, I guess, is the Nets.
Same,
Yeah.
100%.
I think Bridges is sort of, he had that like that really hot, whatever 40 games when he came from Phoenix, and it's very much the real deal. Is awesome player. That's cool. Cam Thomas is fun. And Claxton's good, and I'm hoping for the best for Ben Simmons. But yeah, like I don't really think the Nets don't excite me. And then the other team, like my main answer is Portland without Scoot. So Scoot's been injured, so I think when he comes back, I'm excited to see what he can do. But he got injured pretty quick, so yeah.
Yeah, lots of good answers. I considered Portland, but I like Shaden Sharp. He's Canadian. I gotta stick to them. I think Boston falls into like this show us in the playoffs category, almost like the Raptors were in the DeMar Kyle era, where it's like nothing you do in the regular season matters because we get it. Like you're a good regular season team until you prove it in the playoffs. Doesn't matter, but I won't say like they're the most boring team just because they remade the roster so much this year that I'm still curious about how all the new pieces fit together. I agree with Brooklyn though. God, I hate that team. And I hate the analysis around them because people give them such a break. And it's like they just had 3 of the best 15 players in the league, and now they're this. And like NBA analysts are like, well, they got a good return for Durant. It's like they blew up their own team by their own volition.
Mhm.
They traded James Harden for Ben Simmons. Like, let's just understand that. That's where it all started. The Brooklyn Nets are they're the worst run franchise. It bothers me so much.
But isn't
that
that
they've
kind of
gotten
exciting?
away easily.
That at any moment they'll just do something so brutal and wrong. You know
But
what I
I
mean?
think they're in a less exciting version of that right now. Like right now, they're like
They are for sure.
they
They're
rebuilt
on a downtick.
like Kenny Atkinson rebuilt their reputation a bit, and then they made a bunch of put the super team together, which was a spectacular failure. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, they're 1 foot on the line from beating the Bucks. It's like, well, if that's your that's the legacy of your organization, that's so sad. And I think Raptors fans can relate. Like the Nets also don't have their pick, and they're also 6 and 7. So they're not really there's not a lot of they don't have a bunch of young prospects to get super jacked about. But yeah, I'm Thank you for supporting me and my Nets. Boring hate.
Yeah, I can't watch that team. It's just a bunch of okay 3-and-D guys. Like that's what the team is. And there's nothing like bringing it together in a fun way.
And
Ben Simmons sucks. Let's just be honest about it. Watching him play is a depressing thing. He's nowhere near what he used to be. He doesn't look at the rim. It's honestly sad watching him play basketball.
I'm glad that you ended up going way harder than I did. And
Thank you for bringing up the Nets.
And honestly, that was me being delicate around like I hope to see him do better. But I think you went ahead and said what I
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of the Ben Simmons analysis. It's like, let's call this guy what he is. He's one of the worst players in the NBA at this point, and he's on a max contract. Like, he sucks. Until he doesn't suck anymore, we got to just say he sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the NBA is such a competitive space, and like there's only so much real estate to go around as far as like who you're championing. And yeah, he's several years away from being the Ben Simmons that, you know, deserve that attention and love. So I'm with you, you know, earn it back and, you know, get beyond this sort of like hitting shots in the preseason and, you know, summer thing. Cause yeah, we've seen him do stuff that in times where it doesn't matter. But also, just to transition to this last, this draft game we're going to play, another thing they did, which I'm like, maybe it sort of worked temporarily. They fired my guy, Steve Nash. And it's the only time I've seen Steve Nash as a coach, or like sort of like executive type get really mad. Like he's usually so chill. And he had that one sort of like Bilbo Baggins, like bug eye moment, when he sees the ring. Sorry, deep Lord of the Rings reference. But
yeah, you guys remember Steve Nash is like, my old ring.
Yeah, well, he was getting kicked out of a game, and his eyes were like just like popping out of his head. Anyways, they did Steve dirty, even though he wasn't very good as a coach. Okay, so this last little thing we're gonna do a Canadian draft. So we are going to do a snake draft, and we're gonna pick 5 players each. That have played in the NBA. If you want to really go for it and take someone that hasn't played in the NBA, fair enough, but I won't be mad.
Sick.
Honestly sick. If you got a Zach,
I have 2 questions about this real quick.
Sure.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
Okay. Are we building a team? Does my team have to make sense on the basketball court?
Yes. I
Okay.
think like the goal here is you know, when we compare our 3 teams,
Not just the best 5.
Yeah, like we want, you know, if our 3 teams are having a tournament, you want your team to win that tournament.
Right. Okay, and then can I pick Chris Boucher? He's not listed here because he wasn't born in Canada, but he is Canadian.
I'm gonna say yes, and
For
actually,
sure,
like,
yes, yeah.
just before we start, can I ask you that because I feel like you're a good person to ask this. Yeah, so he was born in Haiti, but obviously he's a Canadian citizen.
I think he was born in St. Lucia.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But
He's
Haitian. Wait, he is Haitian? Oh, he was
I
Haitian
think
but born in St. Lucia.
Who's Haitian? Yeah.
I see. Yeah, is he
Yeah.
is he eligible for Team Canada? Because I feel like he was quoted one time saying he would like to play for Team Canada, or he'd be open to it.
He's definitely been quoted. I've asked him. Might have been my quote. He's definitely eligible. I think by that he just means he would like to, but there's circumstances that is preventing him to, like contract stuff and stuff like that.
Okay, because
He's definitely. If you're a Canadian citizen, you're eligible to play for the Canadian national team.
Because like I think he's like I know we're really talented now, but I think he's good enough to be in the
he
mix,
wouldn't commit
right?
to like the 3-year core because when they made it, he was still a expiring contract.
Right. Okay.
So,
and he's a good
he's
example.
never played for Canada.
He's a good example of someone who hasn't made major money, so I would understand him sort of like securing that. Okay, cool. So Andy, take it away. Let's figure out the order here.
Okay, so it's 5 rounds. We're building a classic team, classic positions. I've inputted our 3 names into the randomizer at random.org.
Okay, your favorite site.
My favorite site.
Really
the
quick,
one-
not to waste. I know we're running out of time.
No,
I've
go
been
ahead.
in a fantasy league for like 4 years now. The guy who runs it, Luke, he's the commissioner. He's gotten the first overall pick 3 years running. He's selected Nikola Jokic 3 years running. And I just want to say that these
Suspect.
random, very suspect, very unhappy with
But
the integrity
random
of the league.
also, let's not forget, random does not mean even, does not mean fair.
Okay,
Random does
so
not, it
Interesting.
doesn't mean evenly spaced. It just
so
means random.
random is conspiracy adjacent. I see. So like
Mhm.
Andy last
Uh,
time, I think he got the first pick.
I
So
did get the first
let's see what
overall pick.
happens here. You know.
I have hit the button on random.org, and the order is as follows: number 1 overall pick, Oren; number 2, Freddie; number
Yes.
3, Andy.
Okay. All right. All right. Pert Plus has
All right,
some
I'll take it.
legitimacy.
I'll take it.
So we may have just given this one away here, random.org. The specialist gets the draft first overall, but let's get in and let's see what we got. Oren, you are first on the board.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna go with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mhm.
You could go with Steve Nash here. That would be perfectly acceptable, but Shea is my favorite player, so I'm going with Shea. And now I got a point guard, a versatile player to kind of build around him. It could go any number of ways from here. So I'm excited about where my franchise's future is heading for sure.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
good stuff. I think that Shea, and Nash, those were the two. It's pretty top heavy draft in general. I will be taking Nash pretty quickly. I think he's a built-in offense. So my team is going to, you know, especially it's their primes, and I'm telling Nash, you were conservative when you played. Shoot a million more shots, please.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
Honestly,
so
go ahead.
can you guys give me access to that thing? Are you like editing it as you go?
I'm adding to the board. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If you could give me access, because now I
Me,
just realized it would be helpful to see who's gone.
I also don't.
Yes.
I'm,
Oh, I thought I sent you guys the link.
I
I'm
requested access from
me
you.
There we
too.
go. Okay.
My access was
I
denied
didn't
by the
realize.
random Pert Plus organizer.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize I had to then do that. Okay. That should be good. You
Okay.
guys should be in there now.
All right, thanks.
So, okay. Bookkeeping aside here, this is where the draft gets a little. I mean, first 2 picks are, I think, pretty obvious. There's some options here now, though, at pick 3 and 4. Canadian big men are a little like of that caliber that we just
It's
chose.
thin.
It's
It's thin.
pretty thin. It's
It's
still
thin
to come by.
for sure.
But there's a lot of other really good players available as well. Okay. This. Okay. Ooh, it's quite thin. All right. I think again we got some good options here. Okay. I think with picks 2 and 3, I'm gonna go with. I gotta take my man, Andrew Wiggins. Let's go.
Okay.
Very excited when he got in the league. We were all pretty stoked about Wiggins getting in there, and then finally showing up and being the player we all wanted him to be. You know what I mean? That was like a real triumph for I feel like Canadian basketball fans.
He's an elite glue guy now.
Absolutely, and he's going to be a leader on this team. With his experience, he's going to show up for us. And then I think for my pick after that is going to be Jamal Murray. We're going to take Jamal. We're going to take the champion. This is going to be a good 1-2 punch for us, I feel.
I like that 1-2 punch a lot. Yeah.
I thought there was a chance that you had forgotten Jamal Murray, and
No
I
way.
was gonna go off with how happy I was. But I think
I
Can't leave
thought
him on the
about it.
board. No way.
the fact that you took Wiggins first,
That's the trick of the snake pick. You take
Yeah,
the one
okay,
everyone- you take the lesser known or the
Yeah,
lesser agreed upon pick first.
scared the shit out of me, bro. Okay, now I think there's a lot of different ways to go. Like you said, with big men, things get confusing. And I think this is a bit of a reach, but based on, just needing some, some defense and, like a real good big man, and there's not that many. I am going to go with the second overall, or with my second pick. I'm going to go with Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we picking players when they were in their primes or right
Yes.
now?
Always prime. Always prime.
Always
We
prime,
should have
okay.
said that off the top, but
That's fair. That's
but
fair.
it
Tristan
wouldn't have
Thompson
affected
he had a great
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
He's doing
Four consecutive finals. Like he can,
Yeah.
doesn't need
Yep.
the ball, can play D. He's great.
However, you did leave me with a couple wings I'm very happy to get.
Yes.
It's gonna be a wing heavy roster. I'm also just building Team Canada, I think,
Honestly,
right
though,
now. But
let's
you guys
also.
kind of giving it to me.
I just want to quickly say, Freddie, that could be a potential chemistry disaster. I'm just gonna say it right now. Anyways,
Could
carry
be. But
Wait, you have no, who's your first pick? Oh,
Nash. So Nash is so chill, right?
Nash
So
brings guys together,
on.
yeah.
Does he? Did he? Is that what he did as the coach of the Brooklyn Nets? I'm sorry.
Not the coach, but on the
listen,
floor.
He's
I-
basically
he
going
was
to
a
be your
great
coach.
captain.
He's
Yeah.
he's basically going to be the coach of this team. We'll
Prime
see.
Nash, he'll talk to Tristan and be like, "Come on, don't do that."
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
he'll talk, but we'll see.
This is tough for me. I'm gonna go with one of my picks for sure. I'm gonna go with Dylan Brooks. I liked the fit between Dylan and Shea at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Those guys play off each
Yeah.
other really nicely, and Dylan's just kind of surpassed RJ Barrett as a player, so he's really good. Man, this next pick is getting tough because I do want RJ, but I'm a little concerned about my spacing now. Even though that was the exact backcourt that Team Canada had, and they won bronze, so maybe I shouldn't be too concerned. But I'm a little bit concerned with the spacing.
A lot of options here. A lot of options on the board.
Yeah, it's really starting to spread out.
Don't be afraid to reach way back. This is the thing. We don't have many players
See,
from
like
back then, but
I've thought about it, but realistically, the players that are in the league now are just like the talent is just so superior right now
It
that
is,
like
yeah.
it's kind of hard to reach back. But
I was actually kind of shocked. I thought we would at least have a guy from pre 2000s with 12 points a game or something, but there just isn't. That doesn't exist. Canadians just didn't do that. Outside of Steve
I'm going with
Matthews.
RJ Barrett. All right, we got the backcourt
he's
of Team
going for it.
Canada.
Okay.
Our spacing is a little murky, but we're gonna figure it out.
To Oren's point, this might be a bit of recency bias, but I really believe in him as a player. So this is maybe a bad pick because of prime, but I just think that I want someone with bounce who can hit the three. So I am going to go with Shaden Sharp.
Nice.
Could be another reach for me, but I think chemistry wise, Nash and Shaden, I like it. That's some alley oops right there. You got Nash, you got a Nash pick and roll with Tristan. You got Shaden. Shaden can kind of do it all. Again, I think there's probably some better players out there still, but I'm going with Shaden.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so you've really that pick has really left some guys here for me, and honestly, I think it was a mistake by you.
Wow.
I'm just gonna cast some more shade on Freddie's team because that's how this is gonna work.
Shit, he's going with Kevin Pangos.
I'm going. No, but not far off. I mean, okay. Oof. So, man.
I think I have some regrets already.
I don't know. I mean, I think at this point in the draft, like, these. I mean, who else is there, right? Like, we're taking who we got, and now we got to look a little deeper. And I think there's a pick that is out here that almost should be made as like almost the correct pick here. I mean, I guess I get two picks, but then I got a fun pick that I think is going to be there at the last round. So we can't take that up. Okay. Oof. And I'm just gonna say this. I hate Rick Fox, and I'm not picking him. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if it reveals some kind of strategy.
93 games played.
There's no way I'm picking Rick Fox. I hate his guts. Okay. So
listen, that's on you, dude.
It does make it a little bit more confusing for me. Okay. Oh, okay. we need to get a little we need to get bigger here with this squad. We got two good picks here. But we gotta yes. Okay. I would suggest we be bold. Suggest we be bold. And I'm gonna take we need a leader. We need a guy who's been there. Okay. We need a guy who's won multiple championships on the best team of all time. We need a guy who's gonna know what to do in the paint.
You going to Bill Wennington?
And specifically at the elbow. Okay. We need a guy who's gonna nail shots from the elbow. The first time I ever heard the term "the elbow" was when someone went, "Bill Wennington from the elbow," and that's who we're going with. Okay, Cowboy Bill Wennington. That's going to be my pick, my third pick, and then let me put that in here, and then to sort of I mean that's an old school player right there, so we need someone who's got some legs, because certainly Bill Wennington did not. I'm gonna take maybe a bit of a surprise here. I'm gonna take my boy Lou Dort.
Yeah.
Let's go. I
I
love his name so much. I don't know how to say the full version of it. I'll just say Lou forever. But I love it very much. I'm gonna go outside and have a Dort. You know what I mean?
Go outside and have a Dort is yeah.
That's great. That's a great one.
I mean, Bill Wennington, that's on you. But Lou Dort.
I'm delighted to choose Bill Wennington at this point in the draft. What a steal.
Well, I'm so happy that you left me pure winner, handsome dog Rick Fox.
Oh my God, you're my enemy. You
listen.
Your team is my enemy.
Like I don't know if you've seen my theme yet, but not a lot of modern players, okay? I'm transporting people.
But...
I got Shaden. Rick Fox.
Shaden on there. He's gonna be lost playing with
Shaden is gonna have a reality check on this team. They are playing some 1990s basketball.
He's gonna be like, "You guys smoke cigarettes?"
Especially when he gets swatted by big Bill Wennington. You know, you come around, get out of here.
Bill Wennington.
Get that garbage out of here.
No, Bill Wennington's gonna have plantar fasciitis in his first game.
Oh, he has it already. Certainly had it in his prime. You know what I mean? They called him Old Icefoot.
But yeah, Fox can hit the three.
Fox is a fucking pile of garbage.
Wow.
We're allowed to swear on this show, right?
I had him booked for our next episode, but I'll make sure.
You know where it all stems from too? It all stems from him refusing to play for Team Canada. He never wanted to play for Team Canada. And back then, when I was a kid, and I heard that, I was like, "This is the one NBA player I know from Canada. Screw this guy."
Yeah.
I felt the same way about Brett Hull, but then I found out later that it wasn't Brett Hull's thing. It was. That wasn't his fault. That wasn't his fault.
That was a journey.
Yeah, here we go. Anyways, Horan, you're on the clock.
Well, you guys, if I wanted, you guys have given me the full starting lineup for Team Canada, but I think that's too boring. As young as I do want to go, because this is tough. You know, should I really just be concerned about the defense? You know what? No.
You should be concerned about my defense because it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could go all defense and become unstoppable. One guy I really want on my team is Brandon Clark. I'm going to take him. He's a guy I would love to play for Team Canada. Someone who just the kind of four that they really need. But there's a whole lot of options I could go for my last. I can't believe
you passed on Simbular.
I mean, I passed on a lot of good players. You know, All-Star. I passed on All-Star Jamal McGlure. No one's taken the All-Star.
I
Yeah.
know.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't reveal. Don't reveal. Someone's got a plan.
If you take Jamal,
This is Freddie's next guy for sure.
No, it's my center's Tristan. You can't take in this era. You can't take
True.
two of those guys
in this era
and expect to win.
See, I want a center. I want, my thinking is Dwight Powell, Kyle Alexander, Todd McCullough. I could go get a center right now, but then I just don't have enough shooting on my team as good as the defense is. So what we're playing small ball. We're gonna take our boy headband Poppy Kelly Olynyk, and we're gonna have Brandon Clark guard the fives, and we're just gonna get by doing that. And I think that's gonna be fine. Brandon's a big body, he could do it, and that's the team.
I mean, pretty sick team.
Pretty sick team.
I think Kelly.
We're a little small.
Kelly's a winner though. Like he truly is. Like it's funny. He's been like a throw-in for so many trades, and then that team has been really good. Like Miami, Utah. Like
Yeah.
Kelly is definitely had I think fairly underrated career. Okay, my team. Rick Fox, I will say, can shoot the three, but I think having Tristan out there, he switched up what hand he shoots the free throw with mid-career. So it's just not a guy that you can rely on for buckets in that sense. And he's going to be doing a lot of work on defense. But I'm torn here between a couple guys trying to pick a high shooting percentage. And yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I think, okay, here's my pick. The shooting percentage doesn't scream out to you, but he's another young guy. Every time I watch him play, he kind of just came into the league and started, like bullying people and being really aggressive and scoring with ease pretty quickly. So I'm going to go with Ben Mathurin. So a little bit undersized, but I like it. I got, we'll recap our teams, but Mathurin gets buckets. So he's my guy.
Gets buckets. You should make that a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Mathurin gets buckets.
Mathurin, call the Pert Plus guys and we'll hook you up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last pick of the draft here, because we're not doing a sixth man, because honestly, there's not really enough players to choose from.
I'd be down, honestly.
I mean, we could.
There's some more I'm interested in.
We could have some fun here. Wow. So, who am I looking at here? We got Wiggins, Murray, Bill Wennington, Lou Dort. Okay, I mean, we could use. I think we got a couple minutes left. We can do a six man. Let's do it. Okay.
Nice.
Because I got somebody.
I got somebody too.
Okay. All right. We all got somebody. That's why I mentioned it. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe this is a little bit from left field, but growing up watching again, when we barely had any Canadian basketball players in the league for so long that a little bit of respect has got to be put on our man Jamal McGlure. I mean, the OG, right? Like this is a guy, he came to Toronto. He was good, right? When he played for the Hornets, he was solid, man. And he's a guy who, like, I don't know, all-star Jamal McGlure. He's like the guy who came to Toronto because we were all at that time being like, well, he's got to play for Toronto. Obviously, he must at some point. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a bit of a he's who's left, but guess what? We're happy to have Jamal on the team because having him go that late is honestly that's a direct critique on all of your guys' basketball knowledge because there's no way he should have been left to last pick, and I'm reaping all the benefits. Anyway, sixth man. We're gonna do a sixth man. Let me consult my notes here.
And let me just say, I respect the Big Cat. Every time I vote in any election, there's a big sort of like kind of trophy case area of the school, and there's a big kind of like shrine to the Big Cat. So.
At the school where you vote in?
At your school?
Yeah, but I looked it up. I don't think it was his high school, so I don't understand the connection. But yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Sixth man. some man. Okay. There's just like, we got to go with some heart. Okay, we got to go with some Quebecois flair as well, and just a journeyman. You want somebody who's been around the league, knows how the league works. Okay, played in over 900 NBA games. And that's why we're going with another kind of like Boucher-esque pick here, but he's the original Boucher. But he's not. It's not Boucher, even though I do love him. It's the original. A native of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, grew up in Montreal, Canadian citizen, Samuel D'Alembert. Everybody, there he is. We're going
big.
Nice pick. Good pick. I forgot about Boucher too during the draft, even though I asked.
I forgot about D'Alembert too.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that I'm gonna continue with the shooting train here. He's had a nice start to this season, and I think was a really, really big part of this Canada squad. So I'm gonna go with Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Nice. Shout out to finally. I just wrote about Nickeil. He finally has a role on a good team for the first time.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. Like he stuck it out.
Nice to see. Yeah, exactly. He played 33 minutes last night in a Minnesota win. He's killing it over there. I like that pick, although I'm gonna go in a different direction. Another young guy who's having a good start to his season. I need a backup point guard, so I'm gonna go Andrew Nembhard. There's a lot of connections. He played AAU. He played with RJ Barrett, so we have that connectivity coming up here, and just another guard I can. Right now Shea has a little too much responsibility handling the ball, so we get Nembhard off the bench to really settle things down.
Beauty.
Love it.
So maybe from the top we can recap our teams here, and then we'll wrap this baby up.
If there was one more pick to make,
you can share this if you want.
Oh yeah. If there was one more pick, I would have picked Ryan Nembhard, who is a guy I grew up with, and he was the best basketball player in our school, and he was great.
Oh,
so wow. There you go.
He played last night.
Ryan Nembhard played?
Yeah. Gonzaga Ryan Nembhard?
No.
This is a totally different person.
Actual guy, totally different person who's my age, who certainly did not play for Gonzaga last night.
Okay, well, Andrew has a brother named Ryan who plays at Gonzaga.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. The Nembhard family, their basketball tradition is strong.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're related? I'm going to say most likely not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Let's recap the teams here. Oren, you had first pick. Why don't you let us know who's on your squad?
All right, I got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander at the 1, Dylan Brooks at the 2, RJ Barrett at the 3, and then we got a front court of Kelly Olynyk and Brandon Clark. Those guys. We'll get creative how to deploy them. It's a little small, but we'll figure it out. And then off the bench, Andrew Nembhard is my 6th man.
Love it.
I love it. Okay.
I think they're built to play modern NBA basketball.
It's going to be tough in this league because we got a lot of old guys. Me and Freddie.
You can't say my team is modern, but also my team's a nice mix of winners. We got some rings on this team, and we got
Not
some
from your leader.
We got an MVP, the only Canadian MVP so far. Which will probably change with SGA. But here we go. Steve Nash. And then in the sharing the backcourt is going to be Shaden Sharp and Ben Mathurin. And then our bigs. I'm going to say Rick Fox is the power forward and Tristan Thompson is the center. And then coming off the bench, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So a lot of offense. And some defense, but that's okay. That's the NBA these days.
Listen, if you're not rocking 3 centers on your roster, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, because this is going to be a crash and bang tournament that these three teams will obviously be playing against each other. We're playing 1980s basketball here because we have on my squad, we've got Andrew Wiggins, Lou Dort as our guards. Solid. We're hitting some shots back there. We got Jamal Murray. We got from the elbow, Cowboy Bill Wennington. He's going to be nailing so many shots from that sort of mid-range depth there. Then again, we're staying big, okay? We got Jamal McClure and we got Samuel Dallenberg. Like, you're not going to be able to hit any shots because we're going to be blocking them all, baby.
Huge.
Now, listen, will my team be able to guard at all around the perimeter?
Will your team hit any shots? No.
There will be zero perimeter play, but that's because that's fine because we're going to smack and hack these guys so hard that they're not even going to be able to get the shots off, baby.
Yeah, I don't know that is
You're
fine.
not going to be able to have you're not going to have wrists at the end of this game. You know what I mean?
Your team is built to play in the 80s.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
in the 80s, your team would kill it.
Yeah, there you go. My team's all heart.
Well, we will put that up so people can vote on it. And yeah, I got to wrap this baby up. But Oren, thank you so much for joining us and messing around. Is there anything you want to plug?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for having me, though. That was fun. Just writing at the same place as Yahoo and Sportsnet. Like I said, I wrote about Nikhil Alexander Walker for Sportsnet, so go check out that piece if you're interested in his career. But other than that, thanks for having me.
No problem. Yeah, check out all his work. And thank you again for everybody who's listening. And make sure you subscribe to Raptors Republic. Andy, anything you want to say before we head out?
Ooh, just subscribe Raptors Republic and comment on our YouTube channel because we're here. You can see our faces and all of our reactions to our excellent draft picks here. So come on through.
Yeah, if you're a Flynn stan, hit up Andy. And,
yeah. Reach out and also send me pictures of Bill Wennington hitting shots from the elbow. I'd love it.
Yeah, one picture. Okay,
Flynn
cool.
Sanity is coming to a city near you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and peace out. See you next week.
Bye.
All right.